everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Randomizers podcast. I'm DJ, and of course, I'm joined with my co-host John, aka Mr. Cake Dragon Man. And today we have another special episode featuring another special guest, introducing our new lovely guest, Dio Maddin.
You nailed.
See, I told you.
You nailed it. One take.
I told you I was going to butcher it.
Nope, you did great until the end. You started losing your confidence a little bit, I could tell, but no, you were fine. You were fine. You guys can call me Brennan.
Professional.
It's fine. You know, we're not on Monday Night Raw right now. It's going on as we're recording
All
this.
the questions I have regarding Monday Night Raw, but we'll get to that later.
I can't wait for this entire podcast to end up on some dirt sheet. Dio Maddin shoots hard on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, fucking it's on Wrestle Talk and shit. Oh, that'd be epic. If that is the case,
Wrestle Talk, Cultaholic. I'm a video editor. Hire me.
I'm broke. Spare change.
I am broke and I need help. No, but fucking Brennan, absolutely an honor to have our first wrestling guest on this podcast. Absolutely,
I'm the first.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you your first bump.
Yeah. You're gonna put me through a fucking table and die and go to the East Sky World?
No, that's me apparently. So.
Holy shit! I wanted to ask about that, but we'll get to that later. How have you been, my friend?
I've been good.
Yes.
I've been enjoying I've had a nice little vacation from work, so I've been enjoying myself, working out, spending time with the family. How about you guys? You guys good?
Yeah.
I've been getting a lot of Oh, sorry, Silver, you go.
That's okay. Just hanging with family and all that, and just playing games and at least attempting to work out.
Oh yeah. Oh shit. Fucking Silver, you're doing more than me, says the guy that wants to fucking start wrestling soon. No, I'm planning everything ahead for next year so I can schedule stuff better. Currently looking for a second job, or at least a really good paying video editing job, or at the very least working out more for next year, because I'm gonna start my training as a professional wrestler and hopefully start in the indies if I'm lucky.
Where are you based?
I'm based in Florida, so I have a lot of options.
You actually do, surprisingly. What part of Florida, if you don't mind doxing yourself on your own podcast?
Silver, if you can censor this with I don't know, AVGN saying the fuck word or something. I'm
Oh my god.
I'm
here it comes again when I have to make time cues on when I have to edit something within the podcast, within like the almost hour-long podcast.
Hopefully this will be the only time, so don't worry. Hopefully.
And then, like,
I lied.
Midway, like 45 minutes in, it's like, okay, can you put in like some trumpets and like a bunch of people yelling in the background?
So when I was doing Raw and I was recording my own podcast, what do I call it? Jeez, Super Shogun Summit Cast. Yes, that's what I call it. And so I was doing that with my friends, and I was trying to be really good because I was like, okay, I really don't want to mess up this job. Little did I know that just me being too tall was going to mess up my job. But what ended up happening was, like, I was like, hey guys, let's try and not say anything that's going to get us like canceled, because I just want to get this podcast out there for our patrons or whatever, so they have something to listen to for, I think it was around Thanksgiving time or something like that. And I was like, I ended up having to go through the entire podcast myself, censoring so much. I think I cut out maybe like 30 minutes of conversation because I just didn't trust the universe to have it.
Who is on your podcast?
I usually do it with it's me, Mansoor, Dijakovic, and Big Damo. So we usually sit down in my office and shoot the shoot for a little bit and talk about the goings-ons of the days.
I'm gonna geek out for just a minute. Silver here is not a I wouldn't say he's a wrestling fan. He's slightly. I like to say you're.
I would kind of say that, like, I would get into it just because my boyfriend is, but yeah. Besides that, I haven't seen much.
You're wrestling adjacent.
And also because I'm. Yeah, wrestling adjacent. Just want to say, out of all of the fucking men that are in that, Mansoor is a fucking treat.
He's a piece of garbage. Don't be excited that I was on a podcast with Mansoor. Out of all the people that I just named, Mansoor's the one that you're gonna geek out about. He's the worst.
Well, if you haven't noticed my icon, I'm fucking Sato Kazuma from fucking Konosuba. I have shit tape. No, he's the best boy. But yeah, no, all of you guys are fucking really good. I was watching your matches on Brennan on Reality of Wrestling, and I have to say, you were. Why? You do so good.
Those were okay. So, just I guess to go back in time, to a time before I was wrestling. I stopped wrestling, or I stopped playing football. I believe in 2016. Yeah, that sounds right. What year is it? No, it couldn't have been 2016. I was working for WWE. Maybe 2015 then. And I had developed a relationship with Booker when I was with the Texans. So when I decided, oh, I'm not playing football anymore, this is dumb, I called Booker and I said, hey, Booker, can you train me so that I can try out for WWE and try and be a wrestler? And so they knew that I had a very strict deadline for as long as I was going to be in Houston, because I was in, the plan was to try out and make my tryout and come to WWE. So I'd be moving to Florida. And they put me on TV in a month. I learned how to bump. I learned how to run the ropes, and then I went on TV. So those any reality of wrestling match that you could find were very early, and I don't think I even got decent until maybe this past year. So if you think that was good, then wow, wait until I show up on TV again.
Yeah, that's what I want to hear. Shit, you fucking. It's like, hey Booker, so would it be all right if I could just try out for this thing real quick? I didn't know that you had to fucking get in the ring in a month. That's insanity.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And then just at the end of all that, just feeling super exhausted. It's like, all right, here you go. Just get in there.
Yep.
Go.
Yep. And it was weird because he assumed that I knew wrestling things from football. Like he didn't teach me how to roll at first, because he was like, oh, you know how to roll from football, kid. And I was like, no, I don't. That's not a thing we do.
Yeah, literally.
Like, you guys do the tackle thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. The world of wrestling and the world of football are two very, very different things. I actually have a story to share with you guys when I first joined football. Now, Silver, you didn't know this, but I was on the football team for 3 weeks.
I've known you since middle school. I think I kind of remember that happening.
Oh, you do? Okay, then so you know that like I use every opportunity, because here's the thing. I didn't give a fuck about football. I only wanted to do this because of the fact that my dad wanted me to go and try out for a sport. But the sport I really wanted to try out for was wrestling. And there's a story on that a little bit later.
Hold on, and I'm going to guess what that story is.
I wanted to,
it's probably similar to my wrestling story. Is I signed up for wrestling thinking it would be like pro wrestling.
No. It's not a repeat of fucking it's not like a repeat of like that South Park episode where every fucking
that's not real wrestling.
That's not real wrestling.
That's not real wrestling.
Sir, get your gay porn out of here.
I legitimately did want to do wrestling, like the whole fair thing, like amateur wrestling and everything like that, to really get the experience. But more on that later, and why I basically just left the sport in general for a long time. But essentially I would do every single opportunity to try and injure myself so I wouldn't have to fucking do wrestling. I mean, to do football anymore.
So you're gonna be great at selling, is what you're saying.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's a good thing. I'm really good at selling shit. Good. I purposely on the last tire every single time. I had an ingrown toenail, so that kind of added to it. And the first day I actually had to take a bump, I got a concussion. So they're like, yeah, maybe you should just be a water boy. And I was a water boy for 2 weeks until I said, fuck you guys, I quit. I'm done. Later days, I'm gonna go go back to being outcast and listening to anime openings on during break time.
Yeah, I had to
With my
do
ingrown
that
toenail.
and be a football player.
You got into it. You're like, oh fuck, I guess I'm stuck here now.
I was like, oh
Well-
yeah, I'm pretty good at this football thing. I better just kind of the sure thing. It's probably going to, get me to the point where I can become a wrestler. So
Now, going to the wrestling thing, one of the reasons why I wanted to try out for amateur wrestling was, one, again, I wanted the experience and I wanted to at least have some sort of background in a sport, because I did at that time want to be a wrestler. And two, my oldest brother, or my third older brother, who I'm very close with, like he's like my best friend, was a wrestler too. So I wanted to impress him, and I wanted to really, I wanted Oni-chan to notice me, all that good. So essentially, I went to the sport, and I was trying to be positive the entire time. I was doing my best. I was learning some moves. I was trying as hard as I could, but it was the first time I was really getting into the sport, and I was really, really like not great at it. Well, not that I wasn't fucking good, but I wasn't too good at certain things. I learned how to do takedowns in the 5th week. I was there. I was only there for like the first semester. I never wrestled because apparently a lot of the students, my brother told me, a lot of the guys in the wrestling team didn't really like me. The thing is with that, they didn't like how like I was excited to just do wrestling, how I wanted to be everybody's friend.
How dare you be excited and try and be friends with everyone? Classic high school.
It was so fucked. Like I said, because I said dumb things. When you're a teenager and you're a freshman, like, because I tried to go freshman year, you're excited, you want to do this stuff, and like plus the exercising. The coach almost never fucking like No, actually, the coach was really cool with me, and he always like talked to me and was like, "Look, it's gonna take a while, but you got to do the best you can do." And it's like I never forgot that. I really liked that coach, and I really respected him a lot as a man. But the kids sucked. The people that I had to work with, except for like one or two of the guys, and then like in my 9th week, as I was gonna prepare for my first match. I just walked to the coach, like, listen, these guys don't like me. Why should I go for a sport that about? So then the coach was like, all right, listen, I'll talk to the tennis coach or whatever, and I'll sign you up for that. I'm really sorry that this happened. So I left.
And that's how you became the Prince of Tennis.
Woo!
Pretty much. I still needed my sports. What the fuck was it, Silver? What was that thing? Like you need a sports degree? Not a degree. I'm not a fucking scientist.
An elective?
Yeah, I needed a sports elective so I could pass high school. So I just took tennis. Fuck it, I don't care.
like with me back in high school, some of the coaches, since I am a big dude, I'm 6'4", and they would always see me and they're just like, it's like, you should either be in football or basketball. I'm like, nah, I have really bad asthma at the moment, so I'd rather just do theater. Bye.
Theater is also good. Hey, theater is good for promos.
Theater is good for promos. That's why Mansoor is such a good promo, even though he's a piece of garbage.
Don't show him my boy Manny. I want to have him on this podcast too. Damn it. One day.
I hope I poison the well to your audience so that when you do have him, that it's just they all hate him and they don't listen to that episode.
Like,
he just comes in and is like, yeah, Dio said I was trash? What?
Man, he's just like, oh, god damn it. I can't be in this podcast now. Thanks a lot.
It's like, oh, man.
I'm like a crab in a barrel. You're never leaving me.
Never leave the Brennan
or even
vortex.
Or even worse, the crab with the knife.
I can definitely see fucking Brennan with a knife. Just like
it's like, don't come near me. I'm warning you.
So, what about you, Brennan? How was your high school experience?
So I got a little bit of the best and worst of. No, actually, no. I can't complain about my high school experience because when I was a kid, when I was young, because I was always this dork loser, but I was also always humongous. Uh, and to my benefit, when I was too young to play any sports myself, I was a loser, but I was a loser whose dad was on the Patriots. So I was like, oh yeah, but my dad's on the Patriots, so I'm cool. So I coasted on that. What was that?
My dad's a celebrity. You can't bully me.
Yeah, exactly. It worked like a charm. So I coasted on that until I actually was playing football, and then I was good at football. So then I was like, oh yeah, he's a loser, but he's good at football, so he must be cool. So I was kind of like the missing link between like the nerds and the jocks, and I got along pretty well with everybody, even though I kind of hung out with the anime types.
What was your first introduction to anime? Oh fuck, here we go.
Oh, that's a good one.
My very first. Okay, so I guess back to my dad being a football player, is he would leave every summer for training camp, and he'd be gone for a couple of weeks. So he'd always come back with something, and the first thing I believe was like Godzilla. He brought back like a Godzilla VHS or something. So I like loved
the mask from JoJo Part 1.
that's what happened. It started there. The Stardust Crusade began.
Oh my
So I was always into, like, I didn't realize it was Japanese stuff at first, but I liked, Power Rangers, and I liked Godzilla. So eventually on another one of those training camp trips, he brought back and you might remember it if you saw it, they used to have the VHS collection of Dragon Ball Z, where if you put them all together, they made a picture.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about. He brought back that.
I think I had a friend that had
And
that.
from that point on, it was down the rabbit hole, and I found out about that, and then it's the journey of the American otaku that grew up in the 90s. You watch the Toonami, you end up falling in love with Naruto for a little bit, and then you realize that you can find it online, but you just have to read the subtitles instead of waiting for the dub. So you catch up, and then you realize, oh, this isn't good, and I can watch other things. So
it's just one big it's just one big anime domino effect.
Yeah, and I'm sure, like, anybody who I was born in 1991. Anybody born in 1991 that's into anime probably had a similar experience where it's like, oh, here's the one thing, or even not even 1991. I think it's always you find yourself with the one thing, and then that sends you down the descent, and either you stop at the surface level, or you see how far the rabbit hole will take you.
The thing is, for some people, it's always Dragon Ball Z that starts the rabbit hole. But from all the stories of how certain people got into anime, it's been Naruto.
Well, that's the Dragon Ball Z of people who were born in 1996.
I was born literally that year.
There you go.
For me, I think it was like a mix of two things. One being my older sister showing me Pokemon, but like I just thought, like, at first, oh, it's just like a cartoon and stuff, and then like,
yeah, everybody has that moment where you don't realize that it's different. You don't realize that it's not American. You recognize that it's something different, and you kind of like the aesthetic of it. But I think, and for me, that was also because they would show Ghibli films in school.
Yes.
Like when I was in elementary school, I remember they would have a day where we watched Totoro with a substitute or something, and it was like, yeah, that's just like a Disney movie. So like you realize it starts planting the seeds in your brain that lets the weeb flower blossom.
Exactly. And like at first it was that, and then like on Toonami, they like late at night they showed, oh god, I keep forgetting the name of it. It was like a blonde dude with spiky hair, like small, like circular glasses, and like a red coat.
That would be Trigun?
Trigun.
Yes, Trigun.
Yeah, Trigun.
Yeah. That, like, I first saw that on Toonami like a while back, and then but I still didn't know what it was. And then like later on, one of my friends showed me like the first episode of Soul Eater. I'm just like, what is this? And like just going full circle. You know what Pokemon is? Yeah, that's an anime.
You fucking found out about anime through Soul Eater? I found out through fucking...
Well, I mean,
Hard.
technically through Pokemon, but like
you didn't know what it
throughout all that,
oh.
yeah, Soul Eater.
Like I learned fucking early. Listen, you had friends. I had no friends in elementary school. So whenever I was crying alone in the computer lab, I would look for Naruto and it's like, oh, this is a fucking subgenre of its own.
Naruto, he's like
What is
me.
His Majesty?
Naruto's like me.
Just make it like those sitcoms about famous people. Like they're just like us.
Naruto's sitting in the corner of the classroom crying, just like me.
He's eating food just like me and wallowing in his own
His
filth.
parents are dead, just like my parents are dead.
Oh god.
Jeez.
The demon inside of him, just like me.
It's like I could relate so well.
Fucking, like every child has a demon inside of them.
Goku, he has spiky hair like me. I use a lot of gel in the morning.
Ah, jeez, don't give Zack Ryder any ideas. Okay, so let's talk about your shining moments. 205 Live, Mr. fucking tall 300-pound man. What was it like being on 205 Live for the first time?
You know what? I think I made this joke too when I was on it, is that I would have never expected that I would have debuted on 205 Live being 6'8" and 300 pounds. There I was. So I guess I haven't said this a whole lot, so this is for I guess if the dirt sheets find this, then this is where they'll hear it. I didn't get into commentary on purpose. I actually started doing it kind of just with a friend of mine who had started doing commentary at the Performance Center, John Quasto. He's an interviewer for NXT now. And he needed somebody to do it with because nobody else was doing it. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll do it. And so I end up doing a couple of, takes with him, and then that gets sent in to somebody who ends up with Paul Heyman, and they were like, Paul Heyman liked me, I guess from a promo or something, and he thought I was cool. And
you're a very good judge of character when it comes to wrestlers, in my opinion.
I think so too. And so it ended up with him, and then they were at the time looking for somebody different, not from the pipeline, to do commentary on Raw. So they were like, "Oh, he's fine. We could teach him how to do this." And so then all of a sudden they were like, "Okay, let's try him on 205 Live for a month. He'll do main event in 205 Live for a month, and then we'll put him on Raw." So it's very similar to me doing wrestling in the first place, where they were like, "Yeah, you have a month to figure this out, and
It's always
we'll
a
decide
month
if you're
for
good enough."
WWE, isn't it?
It's always a month.
It's like you go to a fucking wrestling school. This isn't judging WWE. It's like you go to wrestling school for 2 months. And it's like, oh, he's got 2 months on him.
I did almost a year, 8 months in Reality of Wrestling in Houston before I even got to WWE. So I consider myself an indie wrestler.
You fucking count. Don't set yourself short. I was very sad when you didn't get the fucking World Reality Wrestling title. I was like, oh man, he should have got it.
Yeah, they knew I was leaving, so it would have made no sense. It would have been the summer of Shogun.
Like when
CM Punk moment.
Fucking got the title lost from Andrade in a house show.
Well, that's pretty standard. It was the Madison Square Garden show, right? So
it wasn't Madison Square Garden, wasn't it?
Yeah, so they'll do a random title change to get people to come to house shows for the rest of the year every once in a while.
Even though the year is literally ending tomorrow.
Yep.
Oh, sadly.
At the time of this recording, but yeah,
a decade.
You were I don't
Damn.
So you were I thought you were really good on 205 Live.
Well, thank you.
And I thought you were really good at on Raw as well. How fucking confused were Jerry and Vic every single time you made a weird anime reference?
So there was kind of an understanding that there was kind of this thought process where okay, we need somebody who gets what the youth are thinking. We need a Zoomer on commentary. We need somebody who speaks the language.
Woo!
Speaks the language of the kids. And Jerry the King Lawler isn't that kid, you know? So there was kind of like this understanding where it's like Dio's gonna say some off the wall stuff, but it's probably a meme and it's probably gonna resonate with the audience. So they didn't understand and they were like, oh yeah, that must have just been a Dio thing. I guess it's over. Or they try and interact. My favorite was there was one episode of Raw where me and King went back and forth about LARPing because I had to explain what LARPing was to King. And that was probably my shining moment as commentator. In my
I think was your shining moment. As a commentator.
That was
and
a pretty good one.
Dio
Too.
and Vic, I just dead inside. I was like, what the fuck is
what?
He talking about? What?
You put cardboard on your chest and then you get a foam sword and you start whacking each other across the chest.
You see,
it's really fun.
There's this anime called One Piece.
Oh my God.
You see, there's an anime about pirates, and Kairi is Japanese like an anime, but also a pirate.
And there's a magical fruit that they eat that somehow prevents them from swimming.
See, friends in Japanese are called nakama. I would call you my nakama. You get it?
And Jerry, you're my senpai.
Like, oh, this world. What's going on with today's youth?
Like he's just hearing the heads of them, just like the fax machine noise, just like what the heck?
I could tell sometimes they were just what?
Excuse me.
Did you get along with Jerry and Vic?
Oh yeah. Well, Vic was actually the reason why I could do it because I couldn't. I probably couldn't have done commentary with anyone other than Vic. Vic is he's so good at what he does, and he's almost like a quarterback in there where he's like calling plays and motioning to each of us to make, to jump in, or so it doesn't sound so cluttered. So he really should get a lot of credit for that. I think
is one of the better replacements for like all of the other like commentary boys out there. And another really underrated person, Pat McAfee. He did such a fantastic job on the SmackDown NXT Invasion show.
Right.
Good. Now that we talked about your shining moments on Raw, let's talk about when you got fucking isekai'd to the next world by Brock.
When I got killed for jumping into the street to save the boy from the car, and
yeah, but that boy was an old man. That car was Brock Lesnar's fucking gigantic forearms.
Yeah. No, that was something else. I came in and they were like, "Hey, so we're gonna run this angle where we're gonna have you stand up to Brock and he's gonna put you through a table." I was like, "Freaking sweet!" Awesome.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Let's go.
Yeah. So I guess it was fine up until that point, but I think the problem was when I stood up and they were like, "Oh, geez, he just mogged Brock." Like, he looks.
I forgot again.
Oh boy.
He was like,
okay. So all right, Silver. Dio's probably taller than you. Like,
yeah, he's 4 inches taller than me.
Yeah. So for fucking Brock Lesnar, I'm gonna assume he's like around 6 foot, just normal 6 feet tall, or 6 foot.
Yeah, Brock's probably like 6'2". He's obviously massive. And he's a big dude, but.
The moment that Dio fucking stands up, he fucking towers Brock Lesnar, and then Brock just fucking carries him and slams him the table. But like everybody's like, "What?" But
there was the issue was there was that moment of like, "Oh, I think this commentator could beat up Brock Lesnar." Like there was a moment online. I think this dude that we've never seen before is bigger and more impressive than some people that are wrestling.
That was like word for word one of the tweets in the on that episode when it aired was like, this guy's fucking taller and stronger than Brock. What the fuck?
And I think they realized it in that moment. They were like, how are we ever going to have anybody? How are we going to have AJ Styles sit at the commentary table next to this giant mutant? Like, what are we going to do? Let's just not have him come back. He can stay at home.
That sucks. Like, you're so impressively tall and shit, and they're just like, "Oh, that's really good, Dio.
Get him the fuck out of here right now."
I was thinking that they were just fed up with their fucking anime references.
No, not at all. They were actually really happy with me on commentary. everybody was pretty happy with like how I was progressing, and they understood that it was like, hey, he's only been doing this for a month or 2 months, and he's coming along pretty good. He's getting better every week.
You also have experience, and though commentary is much different from making like live streams or YouTube videos, you do have experience when it comes to performing arts, whether it be a promo at Reality of Wrestling, you doing videos with like Brandon, and podcasts with the Best Friends and Mansoor and everybody. You have experience on the mic.
Yeah, it's that live. It's the and even it's different from a promo. A promo tends to be, you know, a little bit more rehearsed, or, you know, I have my lines. There's something different, and it's a different skill set to be able to just talk live on anything, whether it be Twitch or, you know, YouTube or on Monday Night Raw. So I joked that I stream on Monday Night Raw on every week on Monday, like, because, and I was told, I was told, they were like, yeah, we want Brennan the streamer to be on Raw, which I think you might have gotten a little bit more when it was less produced on like 205 Live, but I mean, it was obviously there a little bit on Raw, so.
Yeah. It was a really good fucking breath of fresh air when you were on. I was about to fucking quote a Gorilla song when you were on Raw. Like, I think everybody did really good. The three, like, out of the fucking companies that had 3 commentators, I think that was the best.
Well,
Joe did a very good job.
Joe was great, and the thing that's obviously different about me and Joe is Joe. He granted he hadn't been doing commentary, but he also kind of has an established personality that they were, you know, he was like, yeah, go ahead and just be Joe on commentary. So I had a little bit more of like people in my ear telling me what to say and stuff like that. So there's a little bit something different to that. But I think Joe's back to wrestling now anyway. So I don't know what's happening anymore.
Literally,
I'm out of the loop as we speak.
Pretty sure as we speak.
Yeah.
But so when you were isekai'd to another world, which world did you go to? Or I'll just shoehorn it in. If you were to die right there and then, where would you have wanted to go? Which isekai world would you have fucking said, I'll stay here, fuck wrestling?
Konosuba would be the best one. That would be the one that I have the most fun in. Alternatively, I wouldn't mind just getting Yu Yu Hakusho'd and not necessarily going into another world, but kind of being in between the worlds and being a spirit detective. That would be pretty rad.
That does sound really good.
You could just fuck with it. You can fuck with Brock Lesnar anytime.
Yeah, exactly. I'm haunting Brock Lesnar as a spirit detective, and I get that cool that's when the finger powers.
That's when the true menacing symbols come out.
Oh man, I legitimately. All right, let's talk about NXT. Are we allowed to talk about your wrestling there back then and now?
Sure. Yeah, I don't. No, that's the trick. Is since all of that happened, I don't care. So if I get in trouble,
that's good.
You know, what are you gonna do? Take me off of Raw?
What are you gonna do? Take me off television? Yeah. Joke's on you, bitch. I'm already out of there.
You already took me off. Like, you brought me all the way to the top, and you took me off. I don't care.
You've been bamboozled.
But yeah, so how's training been going at NXT and everything?
Training's great. So I guess the weird thing is I kind of got it in my head that I wasn't going to be wrestling anymore for about it's been a while now. I don't remember when the first time I did, started doing commentary, but that must have been in August.
I was like, so like, just to interrupt you for a second, I apologize. I was like fucking petrified that I wasn't going to see you in the ring anymore because I'm legitimately a fan of your wrestling ability.
And a lot of people were, so it's almost like it was partially, a bit of relief in them being like, yeah, just go back to wrestle. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess. But at the same time, I had kind of gotten out of the mindset of wrestling and having to wrestle again or, what to do. So the past, I guess it's been a month now or 2 months that I've just been back in the ring and getting kind of my feet back wet. I haven't had any matches back yet, but I'm just kind of getting all my ducks in order and making sure everything's on point for when I do come back so that I can kind of turn some heads when I do, and then make them put me on NXT.
Yeah, the best thing is if you go on NXT TV, you're most likely gonna win your matches. There's like no way that they're gonna just have you job to somebody when you stood toe to toe against Brock Lesnar and died.
And mogged him. I mogged Brock.
I still can't believe how fucking taller you were. I was so fucking hyped when I saw that too. I'm gonna keep gushing.
Well, that's what's funny is I was for sure. So okay, I didn't find out that after I got F5, I didn't find out that I wasn't coming back to commentary until 3 weeks later.
That seems like
it's crappy is what it is. It's an awful thing to do to somebody, 100%. But what was so crazy about it was it happened, and then they told me, oh, you don't have to go to the UK because we're gonna have you sell the F5. I was like, okay, cool. And I was like, oh, you know what this means for sure. For sure, I'm showing up at Survivor Series and I'm taking out Brock. I'm going to help Rey Mysterio. Like in my head, I was like, "Oh, I know exactly what I'll do. I'm going to spear him. I'm going to pick him up. I'm going to hit him with my finisher. It's going to be so sick." And then I find out that it's just, "Oh no, you're going back to a hole in Florida where you belong."
Oh my god!
You belong.
Wah, wah.
You run through the entire gambit of emotions of like, "Wait, I might be wrestling Brock at WrestleMania. That's a possibility."
Fucking makes sense. Oh, again,
You're just planning it all through your head.
Just due to the fact that you're, I don't think Brock would lose to a rookie.
I don't care. I'd be wrestling Brock at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I'm not some mark that cares if I win or lose. If I'm wrestling Brock at WrestleMania, jeez.
Just really quick, just going on this topic. Since I also mentioned that, yeah, like in the beginning, that my boyfriend is more into wrestling than I am, and since he just barely found out that we were having you on the podcast, he immediately just says like, "Yeah, tell him he should have definitely." Wait, no, he said he should have definitely been able to kick Lesnar's ass.
That's the problem. Is he should have been? Yeah, it just killed kayfabe for everybody. It's like, oh man, that giant black guy should have been able to do something to Brock. I don't know. This didn't feel real.
What happened?
Yeah, did Brock or Heyman talk to you about that? I was like, oh fuck, I just didn't realize how tall you were. Shit.
Not afterwards. I mean, Brock did say, he was like, oh, this is actually, no, you know, the funny thing is when it happened, I'll never forget it, because I went to the back and everybody was like, oh, great job, great bump. And No Way Jose comes up to me and he's like, yeah, Randy was watching the segment. He was like, what the F happened to that guy? Why isn't he wrestling? It's like, they were like, is he dead? Is he injured? Like, why aren't we doing anything?
What happened to him?
So now you have your chance, WWE. You're gonna have your chance.
They're not gonna watch this podcast. Let's fucking
No. Our podcast is like a little gem that some random person in their late 30s would just find randomly on YouTube. Like, hey, they sound pretty funny.
We're gonna have Jesus Christ on this podcast, and we would get like 5 views.
We would have Jesus. Like, it would just be like a Christmas special, and it's just like, yeah, hey, you guys know that it's almost my birthday, right? Oh, okay, we know, Jesus.
We're aware.
Happy
Jesus.
birthday.
Yes, Jesus. So, yeah. What other projects have you been working on aside from wrestling?
Yes.
I guess with me, it's all about, you know, I've been training, but I've actually been on a little of a break from streaming because all of my streaming buddies are out of town right now. So, but that's kind of my second job, is trying to get my online presence to work for itself, and I stream and I, you know, make podcasts and some fun stuff like that, which I enjoy a lot. And hopefully I'll be able to do that as a real job if I ever, you know, become crippled or something.
Oh,
I was gonna say, Dio, are you gonna be for wrestling and voice act for Funimation? Because that's a gimmick I wanted to try to go for.
Well, Funimation, I know you're the one guy listening to this podcast, but I am very interested.
Please hire me.
I've got some friends in voice act. I don't know that I could do it. It seems it's such a hard job, but
You fucking could. Listen, I've been voice acting
I could see,
like
yeah.
online for I'm getting back to it now, but I've been voice acting online for a decent amount of years. You could do it. You legitimately.
And I am attempting.
I think the trick is what I need to do is when I'm done. The issue with, I've lived my life just using up, you've only got so much gas in your body. And I've lived my entire 28 years just burning gas. I'm going to run out eventually. So at some point I'm going to have to sit down and have a job that isn't going to rely on me being a giant athlete. So hopefully, either the streaming or I don't know if I can, I'll be a brand ambassador for some anime company. That's the dream.
Right? Oh my god. Just be like just be yourself on an energy drink can, and just with like anime eyes just pasted on you.
Exactly.
Oh,
And Funimation already sends me like a giant box of anime every month, so I think we're cool. We're cool.
Oh, that's amazing.
good. Fucking awesome. I'm very happy
Just
for all
like
the stuff that you've had.
you just see a letter in the box, just like, we're still cool, right?
Oh, but like fucking I think this has been the most professional episode of our podcast that we've had, because we've treated everybody like they're just a part of the family. With Brennan, we've legit just been asking questions all fucking
It's just
day.
I was actually just having this conversation with my mom a week ago, because my wife brought my kids to a birthday party, and I hate going to birthday parties because when you make small talk with parents, it's always it's how's the weather or what do you do for a living, and then if you're not already a wrestling fan, I do not want to explain wrestling to you. And it always, no matter what, if I go to a birthday party, it's like, oh, so why do you live in Florida? I was like, oh, I came here for work. Oh, what do you do for work? I'm in entertainment. Oh, what are you in entertainment? I'm a professional wrestler for WWE. Okay. Professional, and then it's either Nani? It's either, oh, is that like, I've got a cousin that fights MMA. Is it like that? And it's like, no, it's pretend. Or it's like, oh, like The Rock and Stone Cold. And I was like, yeah, just like that. And then it's like, is it real? Like, geez. Okay.
I can honestly imagine like relatives would actually like just ask like, have you seen The Rock or any of those others like that? Like, yes, I have.
I met The Rock. He was pretty cool.
Okay,
have you seen John Cena?
Yes, multiple times. He's a nice guy.
Do you guys know that John Cena
And they're just like,
ooh.
ooh.
Do you guys know that John Cena and I share the same goddamn birthday?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
No one fucking
you're
ever
lucky.
says happy birthday to me, because they're just like, oh, it's John Cena's birthday, and I'm just
It's like your family is wishing John Cena a happy birthday on your birthday.
it's another reason
hey.
why I want to be a wrestler, so I can fucking
Hey, it's better to share a birthday with John Cena than to share a birthday with freaking Justin Bieber.
Oh, is that you? Is that you, Silver?
I remember like 2 years in a row, like on Facebook, my older sister would announce, like she would tag me in a post for no reason whatsoever, saying like, it's like, a big happy birthday goes to Justin Bieber. Oh yeah, and also my little brother.
Classic big sister.
Right?
Hey, son, how dare you? I'll fucking end you.
It's like, why? Oh, it's like Wag's finger. Why would you do this? I mean, a lot of his newer music is getting better.
I'll be the first to say it, and I'm like weeb trash. So, Brennan, I wanted to ask you some other questions about like just getting into not just wrestling but sports in general. Let's say that I'm a tubby, gross, disgusting, neat geek. I want to be a wrestler. I'm a fucking hickey neat. I am literally Kazuma, but just chubbier and let's say I wanted to just join wrestling because I was inspired to do it by people like Johnny Gargano, Rey Mysterio, and hell, even people from CCW like Pablo Marquez and Cha Cha Charlie. And what's the first step for me specifically.
So it's funny that you say that, because I'm actually kind of going through the process of getting somebody ready for wrestling. And the thing is, for one, you need to be able to just you gotta the first step would be getting into shape that you can just run. Like it's like, okay, you can learn the moves, but you can't learn the moves if you're tired, and you can't do that. So, and that's what's great is, if you've got a set date for when you want to start training, it's always great to, it's like, okay, let's get the diet right. Let's figure out when I can work out. Let's make sure that, my cardio is where it needs to be, so that when it's time for me to actually learn all the nuts and bolts, because when you first get into wrestling, you're not doing anything that even looks like wrestling for the first couple of months. You're just,
it'll just feel like a normal
you're
classroom.
exercising, you're doing
doing
like
squats,
you're running around in the ring,
you're rolling. Yeah, I mean, you don't even run in the ring, you don't even run the ropes. You're learning how to roll, you're learning how to get up, and it's all very taxing on certain things. If you don't, like, I came from football, and just certain muscles that you just don't use in that profession are completely lit up from those first couple of weeks. Or when you do first start to run the ropes, it's all about just like toughening up your body. Is like everybody, when they first start running the ropes, they get this big nasty bruise over their kidney, or some people, if they run it really bad, they start peeing blood just because the ropes are not soft.
So wait, the fucking for Brennan.
If I don't mean to scare you out of it, but
Listen,
it is certainly I never say it's fake. Isn't the word for it. It's predetermined.
I use scripted or predetermined.
It's predetermined. It's not fake. It's predetermined. You can't fake gravity. You can't fake a lot of the things that you have to put yourself through as a professional wrestler. So
through a fucking table and dying for a few weeks.
You can't fake that. Yeah, I went through every bit of that table. And what's funny is the new Raw set is a Tony Hawk Pro Skater level, where it's a bunch of
hell yeah.
Oh my
God.
No, Silver, if you go to Raw right now, and you'll know exactly what he's talking about.
Yeah, the screen is this ramp for one. And what you probably can't see as well is right where the commentary table is another ramp that goes down to just the floor. So I was worried that I was going to go through this table and then sled down this ramp and crash to my death on the floor.
I was really worried that you were just going to get fucking taken off of TV for a bit. Because it's like, I can't wait to see Dio. Either you died or injured or selling a really big storyline, and then they just
Okay, I'm really curious to see this. So I have set up the rare setting that I have on here, where I just displayed the my other computer monitor. Tell me exactly what I need to look up here, and I need to see this just because this is intriguing
Raw
right
Arena
now.
2019.
Okay.
Oh, fucking all right. Is the backstage like the same setting like every other like night on Raw?
It will blow your mind how they're able to turn every arena into the same backstage.
Yeah, because I was like, what the how do you what black magic are you people doing?
That's when I started traveling to these shows, I never understood how they do it. But they have the same, they kind of just, when you walk into wherever the talent walks into, there's a giant board and it says, here's where all the rooms are, and arrows pointing to them. And they set up is like, here's the men's locker room, women's locker room, here's the trainer, here's hair and makeup. It's all there. Here's catering. It's all the same. Like, I've been to a bunch of arenas now, and I couldn't tell them apart because they do a fantastic job of all of those. It's the people that you'd never hear about is the people that, work backstage in that capacity and set up that stuff. It's really something else, you wouldn't expect.
I'm looking at this right now. This like from the top view of this, yeah, I could.
It's Tony Hawk. Yeah, it's Tony Hawk.
It's fucking Tony Hawk.
Here I am, and everything I can't. Yeah, it's.
Oh my god. I remember playing the old Tony Hawk games.
I remember back when 5 didn't exist.
Before Thug.
The
games were just bad.
Do you guys remember Skate?
I remember it.
Skate was my shit.
I remember.
It's funny how I played that a little bit more than Tony Hawk games, but at the same time, that there was this one specific one. I forgot which Tony Hawk game it was, but I don't know why I was just so fascinated by like this one AI that they put in one of the maps that it was like a snowy map that like I guess it was in a snow lodge or something like that, and on one of the ramps you just see like a dude like pissing off a cliff, and like if you don't do anything he's just endlessly pissing, and you have the option to just like grind on where he is and just like knock him off. I'm like,
I thought for a second there.
So you can kill him, or he has to live in piss purgatory for the entirety of forever.
Exactly.
I think a good fucking thing that they should have done was like, as he pisses, you can grind on the urine stream.
A frozen stream of urine. That
Yes,
was good.
yes.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And you just go there to the next level or the next part of the fucking stage or whatever the fuck. I forgot how fucking Skate games works. Work. No, it's works. Fuck.
I remember Skate was able to like, you were able to just run around too. You didn't really have to use your skateboard all the time.
if it's quiet, what is this game?
This is a complete contradiction to the name of the game. Excuse me. You're telling me that I can just run around in a skate game full of skate things? I can't do the Christ air.
And
I can't grind. I can't flip an ollie, whatever you would call it.
And do the nay.
You can't do what the new kids do nowadays on skateboards, like whips and nays and whatever you call it.
I can't floss.
I can't
do Fortnite dances.
I can't do the default dance on the longboard anymore.
Oh, hey, a truck.
just randomly. Oh, hey, a truck. All while you're doing Fortnite dances on a skateboard. This is what happens. It's not Pokemon Go that causes this. It's skateboarding. I sucked on skateboards.
Oh, I couldn't do it. I was too big. Too big and too uncoordinated at the time where skateboarding was cool.
Same. I every time I attempted it, I would always get like those skateboards that came with like the scooter bar. So I'd just be holding on to that all the time.
I'm just gonna be honest with you. I was dumb. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing.
I couldn't go anywhere. It just wouldn't go.
It's like
put my leg here and then I just move. It's like and fall down.
Before all of that, you just look at the skateboard and it's like, is this a big plate or something?
It took me 11 years to ride a bicycle. You think I can fucking learn how to use a skateboard right now? What are you, insane? What do I look like? I'm multi-talented?
Like, oh, what funny story. Like, if we've all learned how to ride a bike, we should all just like say how. Because for some reason with me, it was the weirdest thing that ever happened. Was I was at like a friend's house that was like further down the street from my grandma's house, and for some weird reason like he had to leave, and so like at first I'm just like I don't want to like walk all the way over to my grandma's house. So what I did was I actually took like one of his bicycles and like I just like have at it. I was just like,
so your first time riding the bike was theft?
Yes. From like an
no
old
better
friend of
teacher
mine.
than fear.
Exactly.
To make
like I was
look bad again. Like,
I was
catering to our stereotype that we steal.
I was struggling so like bad because like this shit didn't have training wheels or anything whatsoever, and I was like trying not to fall off, but in my head I'm just like, oh my god, I'm doing it. Oh my god, I'm doing it. I had no idea that I was just like, wait, I just stole a bike from my friend. But I think in the end he actually didn't mind since I just took it to my grandma's house, which is further down the street from his. So he's just like, that's fine. I'll just pick it up.
If we're gonna go in circles on how I learned how to ride a bike was fairly simple. My friend I was only allowed to ride my bike through the cul-de-sac. I was only allowed to circle around it. I was 11 years old, so you can see how much of a dumbass I looked without trying to ride a bike around the tricycle. I mean, with the bicycle falling down every single time. I remember one time when I learned how to do it, I just thought to myself, okay, it's like walking, but I have to put my pedal to the metal or some shit. And then I was doing it, and I like closed my eyes and I was doing it, and I was riding my bicycle. I was like, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm really doing it. And then I fucking like an idiot, just ride through a fucking field of roses, thorned roses.
Jeez.
First.
Oh.
Goddamn ain't
that doesn't
like,
even sound like a thing. That sounds like something that would happen in like a comedy, like
like Tom and Jerry.
Yeah, like why is there just a field of roses?
Next thing you know, it's just like
there's a rose bush. And I just fucking like just eat shit and like fist first go into the roses, and like I'm just like thorns everywhere in my front side. Like my arm thorns, but my hand got fucked the most. And it was like, oh, that's a lot of blood. And I just passed out for a second. And I walked back inside. I put my bike away. And then my dad was like, oh, Iho, how was your bike lesson? I was like, I know how to ride a bike now. Washing my hands. And he's like, well, why are you washing your hands? I was like, I don't want to talk about it.
Next thing you know, if it really was a comedy, you'd just see like a whole row of cactuses just show up.
Yeah, you're going through a field of roses, and you're like, oh, good, I'm almost through this field of roses. What? A cactus field?
Just record scratch.
Cactus, Steven. Where are you?
Oh,
yeah, I wish I had as good of a bike learning story as you guys. I don't remember specifically. I feel like, as with most things, I had to learn, like the things that you have to learn. My dad, like, I learned how to swim because my dad just threw me in the pool. And he was like, figure it out. I imagine it was something similar.
That's
like, you'll get it. I'm sure you will.
It's like, all right, because I don't remember training wheels. So like, I might have. I don't think that I just skipped straight to riding a 2-wheel bike. But like, I don't know. I feel like it might have been.
You just kind of have to learn things yourself, especially.
Yeah, it's the Mishima way of teaching your kids.
Yeah. I just like to think of Brennan Senior fucking carrying his child. He's like, here, go get him. Just throws you in the fucking water and just walks away.
Yeah,
you'll do great.
Yeah, throwing me off the cliff into the volcano.
Oh no!
A son of mine would be able to climb out.
Just make it like a whole anime backstory, and you just hear like the voices of your father, just like after throwing you in, just, son, this will make you stronger.
That's how I'm going to imagine it from now on.
Okasan Yamate.
Yamate.
Oh my god.
Shit. So, Brennan, are your kids going to watch anime? That's the main.
Oh.
Well, so
Here's like, okay, so here's the thing.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I don't want them to be like, I'd like for them to be better than me. I'm, believe it or not, I'm very socially inept. Like, I'm not very. I put on this mask, my persona, that I'm able to talk and do all these things. I am horrible at it. I hate looking up in people's faces and talking to them when I'm going to get something at 7-Eleven. Like, that is not me.
Same.
Same. I live next to a 7-Eleven, so if you really think about it, I could just live my entire life as a NEET if I wanted to.
I am a complete virgin in the physical visage of a Chad. So it's that is my curse, and I don't want my children to deal with that. So I've showed them thing. I don't have them watching anything. Completely. They watch Pokemon. They love Pokemon. They've seen several Ghibli films. So it's going to, for them, I imagine anime will be like a pretty normal thing. Like I wouldn't even be surprised if they don't consider themselves anime fans just because it's just It's just stuff we grew up watching. It's not completely weird.
Daddy, who's Cosma? You don't fucking say that word in this house.
We never speak of that.
Never speak of him.
Oh crap! I thought of something. Wait. Crap.
But Cosma is.
Why did it just slip my mind? Oh, wait, no, now I remember. No, I've had that feel. Even today, like when I was working, I actually went to a 7-Eleven, and I went to just get a drink just because I didn't have anything, and I just like bring up my crap at to the lady at the counter, and throughout the entire time, like she even says hi, and I'm like I don't even make direct eye contact, like hi, like, and I could even still like recall like back when I was very young, when like a therapist of mine said like it's like the key to making a good conversation, Joseph, is to make eye contact. I'm like, I can't. No.
And
no.
I literally had to do it twice today because I went to the grocery store to get some bananas and almond milk, and I went up, and it's the nicest lady cashier at the grocery store. I see her all the time because it's right around the corner from my house. And I didn't want to go to her because she's always so nice and just ask questions, and I don't want to talk. But I was in a hurry, and she was the only one that didn't have anybody. So I go up, and I'm like, she's talking to the guy in front of me, and I'm like, okay, maybe she won't talk to me. And then she's like, oh, are you having a good holiday? Got any plans for New Year? I was like, no. And then I smiled, and she was like, "Oh, you've got such a nice smile." I was like, "Thanks." And then I went to the gas station like shortly after, and I was just getting a Gatorade because I was going to work out. And I was just thinking to myself, I can be like to this guy. He's never going to see me again. This isn't a gas station that I frequent. This is a once in a lifetime occurrence. I can be whatever I want to be to this this cashier. I can put on I could have a country accent. I could do whatever I want, and it wouldn't be weird because he doesn't know me. But for some reason, it's just that like anxiety is like, oh, I'm talking to. It's like, oh, enjoy your drink. Yeah, you too. God dang it!
How do you have a wife
Damn
and
it.
children and you're so socially awkward?
By complete accident. It's by the grace of God.
Just imagine like being anyone and like having that like feeling and characteristic with anyone, and just like you find the love of your life, but the first like things that ever happen when it comes to a conversation is like, hey, you look pretty handsome. Thanks. You too.
You too. Yeah, I don't know. It's a miracle. I honestly, my wife is literally, I went to college. She lived across the hall from me. So it was the girl across the hall. I found the girl across the hall.
Aww.
Very convenient. Worked it out. Made it work. So I don't know. Maybe that's why.
The saying is, Kazuma and Subaru actually do have a chance of finding love.
They do. There's hope for us all.
Good.
Granted, I have a strong jaw and good genes, so maybe that also helps.
Hell yeah. That like overall like that in a nutshell reminds me of, if you guys have ever seen like this very like hits to home like comic, like it looked like a newspaper comic, but it was just like a man in a grocery store. He's just like ringing up all of his groceries, and like the lady at the counter, like she asks him like paper or plastic and all that, and like he seems calm at first, and then the moment when like he's done packing up all of his bags, the lady at the counter's just like, hope you enjoy your groceries, sir. And then the thing that happens with him is just he just turns around, you too. And then you just like they both stare at each other, and then like meanwhile back at his house he's just in a corner like, I'm never going back there again.
It's like that sometimes. You just fucking feel like an idiot. The thing is, I've done that so many times at like the fucking like there are a lot of stores in my area where I can just go and buy shit. Like if I need bread, I can go buy bread. If I need like soda, I can go buy soda. But like whenever, or like milk or whatever. But whenever I go to somewhere and I make a complete ass of Here's the worst thing. Sometimes I'll be in editing binges and I won't shower for like 2 or 3 days because I'm just in the fucking zone editing this fucking video for another client, and then I just walk around. I was like, should I shower? Nah, it's gonna take too long. I just run over. I'm just like a disgusting fucking smelly mess, and I'm just like just walking around. I haven't seen the sun in fucking days. I look like a fucking creature, and I'm walking around, and I just see someone who just acts so nice towards me, and I'm just like, oh, hey there, I just want Cocoa Puffs, if you don't mind. And I just like try not to talk to them as much as possible.
And I think that's the good thing about me is I've surrounded myself with the normalcies of life. I've built this normal life for myself out of nothing, out of just ineptitude. And so, well, like if what my wife will do is she'll take the kids to go see her parents for a week or so, and I'll just be left at home because I'm just working. And I realize because I've been with my wife now, gosh, like 10 years, like 8 years, something like that. And
wow.
Not married, but like she's been in my life for about that long. And so I realized that if Brennan was on his own, living in a house by himself, doing a job by himself, I go to work, I come back home, the lights never come on, I just let it get dark, and I'm just sitting there, and then I get up, and then I shower, and I go to bed. Sometimes I shower. Otherwise, if I didn't have these trappings of real life, of normalcy, then I would fade into nothing.
If I didn't have these people around me, I would probably not.
If you didn't have all of that, like throughout, like at least the span of like a week, like the next time you actually go do something like for a normal life, like go like buy groceries, like we keep going back to, like anyone will just be like, oh, are you gonna be buying this? And like out of your normal voice, you just sound like, yes, thank you.
Well, that's the problem. Like I would go. Like I could go a day without saying a word to anything, just be sitting. And so the way my house is set up is my office that I'm in right now, that I do my my streams out of and all that, and my podcasts and stuff, is downstairs. Kind of like it's basically a basement that's attached to the garage, and then there's 2 floors above. My room is on the top floor. When they are not in town, I will go into my office where my video games are. I will play video games in my chair, and then there's a bed because my office is also a guest room, so I'll just sleep in there. I just won't leave.
Oh my god!
You are Hikikomori.
It's the saddest thing.
What games do you like to play? Like what are like your favorites?
I love JRPGs. I love especially, like, I think my favorite is Persona 3. It helps a lot if they are portable, because of my normal life, I do not have a lot of time to sit in front of the TV and play like a long JRPG. So I'm very excited for the Fire Emblem SMT that's coming out for the Switch now, because I couldn't play it because it's like, oh, that's a long game. I hadn't played it yet.
Okay, I was about to say, I was like, shit, that still doesn't fucking come out? Jesus
well, no,
Christ.
it's out. It's been out, but it was for the Wii U, which I had, but I couldn't sit down and play Wii U. But what I can do is if I'm on the road, I can play it in the car or at the show or whatever. So I'm excited to actually get to sit down and play it.
That is the beauty of portability.
That you can like marry so many waifus in Persona or in fucking.
Could have learned from the best.
He could have.
For me, it was Persona 4.
Persona 4, I love. Yeah, I played Persona 4 first, and then I went back to Persona 3, and they both resonated with me very differently. Like, I very much relate to, and I remember I was like, oh, why do I feel so emotional? Because I remembered the exact moment that you feels when he has to leave town. It's like, oh, that is exactly how I felt the last time I hung out with my friends in high school, and I was like, oh, I gotta go to college, and I was like, oh, I know this resonates with me so much. And I don't know. It's probably worse that I resonated more with Persona 3.
The thing is, with me and Silver, in high school, I don't know why, but we used to fucking hate each other. But when the year, like when
your rivals that became friends.
Essentially, because immediately when fucking we were gonna leave and shit for college, because we didn't know where we were gonna go, or I didn't know where I was gonna go. But I initially said that we were gonna go to UBCC, and I was like, "Hey, Silver, let's fucking still be friends after this." And he's like, "Yeah." And then we just hung out more, and then we saw each other at fucking UBCC. It's like, "Oh, okay, nothing bad." But then I had to move.
What an anime thing to say is, "Hey, let's keep being friends."
Yeah. And I remember the day before you left to go with your mom to Florida, like when I remember like the last thing that we were actually watching was like part 1 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
It was.
And
that's right.
And then like it was like almost Christmas, if I'm not mistaken, and like I was sick, but like you still came like just to say like bye and all that, and then just like
I gave you a present like when it was snowing and everything. It was a lightning.
It was ice cup. Yeah, it was the little like piston cup thing.
Dude, this was during when the first time I started exercising a lot, and then I just stopped.
Yeah.
I gave you the fucking cup because my dad was passing away and my stepmother was kicking us out. So I was just like, "Listen, man, I want you to. Do you still have it?"
Yes, I do actually. And I think it was really funny too, just because like when you were leaving and you were saying bye and all that, and like I had like the urge to cry, but I think I was too sick, so I'm just like I'll miss you too. Okay, now I'm gonna lay down now.
Okay, leave. Go.
So do you have the same problem that I do, where I can't listen to Nevermore, the song from the credits of Persona 4? Because it makes me feel the feeling, and I don't like to feel. So I just don't listen to it.
I'm willing to always admit that I am emotional with a lot of things, and when it comes to like anything, like the music in games, the music in like shows, movies, or just scenes, anything, I cried at the end of Coco. So that's saying something.
Coco was very big for the Latin American community.
It was. Fuck Manny's family. They fucking broke. His grandma broke his guitar. Fuck her. I would never forgive a family member for doing that shit. That's like that's like if you took my fucking laptop and broke it. Like that's all I have to work. Like that fucks me financially and emotionally.
I think it's something about, I don't know, maybe it's because of the nature of video games that you actually have to dedicate yourself to actually finishing it. Like you can kind of half watch a movie, you can't really half play a video game so much. That like a song from a video game really like brings up, especially in a situation where it resonated with me in such a way. It really brings up the feeling. Like Nier Automata is the same way. Is when I hear the credits song for that, I was like, oh, that was a journey.
Oh.
I almost felt the same thing when I played Kingdom Hearts 3, except for feeling the same thing. It was just disappointing.
No, for me, since Kingdom Hearts was like a huge like thing, like a huge part of my childhood, like even though like I can agree with what some people are saying with Kingdom Hearts 3, I still cried a little at the end of that.
I remember, and it could have just been because when I first played the first Kingdom Hearts, or I couldn't beat the first Kingdom Hearts by myself. I needed like an older friend to beat it for me. And
same.
And I feel like Kingdom Hearts 2 took me way longer to beat than Kingdom Hearts 3 did. So like Kingdom Hearts 3, I beat it in a couple days, and I was like, "Oh, that's it." Like maybe I'm just an adult now.
Critical mode is like so much better. It makes the game feel.
Oh yeah, like I could remember feeling like the exact same thing. Like with Kingdom Hearts 1, I still remember specifically to this day. Like I don't know why, like I was having trouble with like one of the first like end fights where you fight Riku as Ansem, and then like I kept dying over and over
true.
to the point where like I go to my friend Steven, like Steven, if you're ever watching this, you may remember, but like I was just like, Steven, can you help me beat this boss battle? It was a horrible feeling just dying over and over. It's like I love this game, but like why?
Yeah. No, I relate.
It's a
We're on the topic
childhood,
of,
just childhood.
Since we're on the topic of games now, it was about wrestling. Now, then it was about anime. Now it's about video games, as we do.
A little weird segue of riding a bike too.
Oh yeah, riding a bike. Me nearly dying. Riding a bike, you know, all that stuff. This is a professional podcast. We never have a topic for our guests.
That's how I do mine. We have a docket and we never get to it.
Oh yeah.
Docket. We have like a screen with shit on it, and we're like, "Fuck, it, let's just go."
I do want to like change it up once in a while, but like yeah, it's like I like how before we wanted to at least have like a topic to like go back on, but now we don't.
Every other like guest we would have would be voice actor and voice actor and voice actor and animator, voice actor, fucking Neko, wrestler, fucking with Dio. Like it's always changing from time to time. But no, if we're gonna talk about this, I think this would be a closing topic because I don't know, Brennan, you have to probably go somewhere, and we don't want to keep you.
Yeah.
No worries. Yeah.
Get out. No, if you are busy, we can make this the last topic. The hardest boss fight in a video game.
Oh my god.
The hardest.
Oh my god.
Okay, so like I said, I'm more of a RPG type of guy, and RPGs don't necessarily, you know, either it's if it's turn based, then you can just grind until you're good enough, or you know, it's very rare that you deal with a boss that difficult in, you know, most RPGs. But in the past couple of years, I got into I played through Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, and Bloodborne. And Bloodborne was hard.
Yes, I could agree with that.
Bloodborne
Oh my god,
was freaking hard. And what's funny is after I beat Bloodborne, and I remember because I was like, okay, I thought the hardest thing in the world at the time was Ornstein and Smoke. Like I was like, that's the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life. And by the time like I had gone back, I played through. I played Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, then Bloodborne. Then I went back and I played Dark Souls 1 again and Dark Souls 3 again. And by the time I went back to play Dark Souls again, I was playing it like Bloodborne and it was easy. Like I was like, oh, I've learned. This has made me stronger.
For me, this is going to be really embarrassing. Sephiroth from Kingdom Hearts 2.
Well, that's optional. Yeah, he's freaking hard. I don't think I beat him. I don't.
I only beat him once in the final mix version, so it was recently where I actually beat him.
Listen, it had to have been one of the hardest boss fights that I've ever had in fucking experience. The fact that I wasted 2 months of summer vacation trying to beat this fucker. I could have done things. I could have exercised. I could have gone outside. I could have gotten another game. But no, I had to beat Sephiroth. Before I did anything, I had to have beaten Sephiroth. And I have been going again and again. I refused to progress, to go through any of the game. I did grind a bit, but it was almost never enough. I was always under leveled. And then I was at level like 42, still under leveled. But somehow, my brother was there and he was watching me. He was like, wait, are you... Oh my god, are you gonna be Sephiroth? And I was like, no, maybe, shut up. And I kept fucking going, and I you know the fucking square combo that like Sora does, that's not even a combo, where he just hits you like 3 times in the air and you stay there?
Yeah.
I hit him with that, and I fucking beat him.
It's such a good feeling. It's such a good feeling when you lose, like, for days. Like I keep trying.
Months I've been beating this. I've been fighting this fucker, and then like I was doing the square attack, and like that's not even a combo. That's like a fucking like an additional combo. And apparently the 3rd hit with that fucking square attack means I fucking did a combo and he's dead. What the fuck? I didn't earn this.
So did you learn to hate the One Winged Angel song? Like is just like haunt you when you're
gives me fucking PTSD, fucking flashbacks of me dying from fucking Sephiroth.
I was scared of that theme at first when I first heard it.
Then when I got Kingdom Hearts 1 again, I beat Sephiroth on my third fucking try. And I'm just like, fuck, what happened to me?
Wait, so does the rule apply that it has to be hard bosses that we've beaten?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. Because I was gonna say because I was gonna say like all the secret bosses from Kingdom Hearts. So like Lingering Will.
Oh jeez, Lingering Will.
Yeah,
fucking.
I would always be so close, and then he would just like keep like zooming past me. He would just like keep turning his keyblade into like the little ship that he does in friggin' Birth by Sleep, and just keep whamming me.
At that
and,
moment, that was when I decided, okay, it's time to sell the PS3.
Yeah, like, but I guess if it were to be one that, I guess like the one that I could remember, I guess that I've actually beaten, besides like I guess Sephiroth from Kingdom Hearts 2 would be like, this is a weird one. It would be King Arthur from Sonic and the Black Knight.
Yeah, I'm gonna be fucking around with you.
Is that a hard? I don't know. I haven't played that one. Is that hard?
It's because it was on the Wii, for starters, and Sonic and the Black Knight had to, of course, they had to utilize a lot of the Wii controls, so they had to like put the waggle and all that, like swing the Wii remote to swing your sword and all that, and when like this was the second final boss. This wasn't the actual final boss. It was the one leading up to the actual final boss. The final boss to that was pretty easy, but fighting. But yeah, like, and apparently in this, like, yeah, King Arthur's, I guess, a bad guy, and you had to beat him up while he was just like chasing after you on his horse.
Chill,
and
you were the king the whole time. Sonic King Arthur.
That was a weird ending, but I could still remember to that day being
he'll never
like
stay there forever.
I could still remember like being so frustrated as a kid, just like trying to like get the motions right of trying to swing my sword and block every time he tried to hit me. And I stayed up so late, and I was just standing there in the living room like, I need to beat this.
It's so frustrating when it's a boss that you actually have to beat. Like obviously,
yes.
like the nightmare bosses are always like, oh yeah, it's optional. You're not even supposed to, like. If that's the case, I'm like, oh, I'm not even supposed to be able to do that. Like, I think I did end up beating Margaret in Persona 4 Golden. And
oh my god,
because I wanted to get every trophy for that, and I remember I was like, I don't think I can beat her. I don't think it's possible.
fighting anyone from the Velvet Room is a pain in the ass.
Oh yeah,
fuck yeah, of course.
It's like, oh, this is what everybody else feels like when I'm fighting them.
and one that I could quickly relate to, because even though I've played Bloodborne, I haven't fully gone through it, but one of my friends has. Is freaking Ludwig from the Old Hunters DLC.
Ludwig, oh
I
didn't actually say it, but yeah, Ludwig would be my pick.
I hated him so much, especially when he gets the sword in the second half when you get half of his health down.
My shining moonlight, yeah.
Like the ones like that galaxy sword that like doesn't it also show up in Dark Souls?
Shows up in everything.
Yeah.
Moonlight.
I think even in Demon Souls.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was painful.
At least with your fucking like the game thing, I'm just gonna go to a part in a video game. I'm gonna embarrass myself even further in this podcast, and then we'll end it. Have you guys played Nicktoons Unite?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, gamers, listen to this. All right, so
only real gamers have played Nicktoons Unite.
Fuck.
Yeah,
only real Toontown vets have played Nicktoons Unite.
Oh my god, yes, Toontown. I miss Toontown.
Good MMO. Okay, so fuck it. I'm just walking around, a little baby cake dragon man, just walking around, getting Nicktoons Unite. It sucks. It's a fucking bad game. It stinks. It's poopy. There's this one part where there's a door or like some shit, and I was like a little baby at this point. I was playing, and I think it was on a Saturday, so I could have been fucking sleeping at this point. And I was like stuck at this one part, right? There's like a big giant log or a door or some shit that was blocking the path, and I didn't know what to do. There was no tutorials or anything, so I couldn't like do any like moves or anything to it, or at least it didn't tell me. I kept running around doing my thing, and I kept using every character. I used Jimmy, I used Danny, I used Timmy, and I used fucking SpongeBob, and nothing happened. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't work. I was like, oh, the game's broken. They didn't make an ending. This is where it ends here. And then I accidentally use a freezing attack with Timmy on the thing, and I hit the fucking door or the fucking log or whatever, and it just materializes into nothing. Just
Like,
that's it. And then I just continue with the game. Now that wouldn't be embarrassing if I didn't take 6 hours to fucking
oh my god.
through that one part of 6 hours. It was fucking dark, and now it is twilight. It is like the sun is coming up. I could have been asleep.
Oh my god.
And then my mom fucking walks in, and she's like, "Are you still playing that game?" And I'm just like, "I don't want to talk about it." Like, oh, you woke up. I just like beat the game. I save it. And I just pass out and cry.
Dude, dude, I was gonna say, of course I know that game. Like, I grew up with that game. Well, like, for some reason, I liked anything that was a crossover. Like, anything.
Crossover.
Like, even
That's why you
like,
played
even
Kingdom
when
Hearts in
I-
the first place.
Yeah.
exactly.
Crossover,
And like,
except for Isekai Quartet.
like, I think there were like 3 Nickelodeon like.
Where's the
crossover, like,
crossover
fighting
between
games? Like,
freaking Nicktoons and Dragon Quest? Where's that game?
oh my god,
What? Does that exist?
No, should be.
this
They
should.
everybody been like should have been like, oh wow, Kingdom Hearts did good. Let's do that.
Exactly. like
Have
with
Cartoon
me
Network
for.
fight Nickelodeon and have sword shoes.
Okay, wait. So, like, this could kind of link in real quick. That, like secrets in games that like were you guys' favorites? Because like when Cake mentioned like that game, there were like 3 of those Nickelodeon crossover games, and like the second one, I absolutely loved for some reason, just because you could get like a secret thing where you could play as Stimpy from Ren and Stimpy. I'm just like,
Those are always fun.
ah! And I
Unlockable.
unlocked that. I'm just.
It's fun when you unlock shit. That's why I love Smash Brothers so much, because I can unlock fucking characters and
Exactly.
not buy them like a fucking corporate puppet. Except for Dio.
But what are like some secrets like in video games that were like your guys' favorites though?
I guess just unlocking characters and unlocking stages and like fighting games.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot less of it now, just because there's the internet and everybody knows exactly before
Exactly,
the game even comes out, it's been completely data mined and everybody knows everything that's ever going to be in a game.
And my brother's like, that's stupid. Why would you like unlocking shit? And I nearly beat him with a brick to death.
I miss the days of like you'd hear a rumor about like Mew under the truck or something like that. Like I miss those days.
Yes.
where-
Oh my god.
Where you would try things and they wouldn't work.
I don't know what
Yes,
the fuck it
exactly.
was, but I saw a video of someone doing that, and it actually fucking worked. Like,
It
me
was
was under the
great.
truck, and I was like, wait, what the fuck? I thought that was a fucking myth.
No, yeah, that was just like a ROM hack that they did, but like I remember that so vaguely. That was and I like another funny thing with Pokemon is that like in the Diamond and Pearl version, I was like done with the game, but I just happened to do like that weird cheat thing, and I happened to like glitch through a wall, and I happened to like walk on water and somehow like get that version's like missing no, which is weird. And like so yet someone was just like, it's like, how the hell did you do that? I don't know. I just like broke the game with a lot of cheats. It's like, that's like an error code in the first game, right? I'm like, what? Excuse me?
You figured it out. You've cracked the code.
And I was never able to play Diamond and Pearl ever again.
You bricked your game.
You should have.
I broke it.
You idiot. That could have been on game. That could have been a break or some shit.
Right? I think what happened was I had the go through walls cheat while I had like like, you know, like those random missions where like someone would follow you and you had to like help them for a certain amount of time. Yeah, they disappeared when I went through the wall, so I'm just like, oh god, what do I do?
About wrapping
But yeah,
everything up.
yeah, I was gonna say this was a really good episode.
So I really like
Well, I'm not gonna say it was me, but
a lot of the times it always is our guest.
I'm gonna say that the best episodes of Raw this year were the ones with me on it. I'm gonna say the best episode of this podcast was the one with me on it.
Well, we're ending. We're either beginning or ending the decade with some Dio love. So, yeah.
Or I guess like starting the decade, because I always
Yeah.
upload these on weekends.
Dio Love sounds like some kind of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure doujinshi.
Yeah, like a fan fiction.
I'll let Vince Street say that.
Dio Love. Oh, I wish I could have said hentai on TV.
You thought it was a normal.
I was waiting for when you were on Raw. I was waiting for you. It's like, okay, when the fuck's he gonna do the "Are you approaching me" meme?
Oh my god.
So before we wrap up, I will tell you about how I tricked the WWE into giving me my name.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So when it came time for me to get my name, they just asked for a list of names that were that I'd be fine with, and they were like mixed up. Like I sent them a bunch of first names, I sent them a bunch of last names, and I was like, whatever, just give me 2 of them, hopefully, and don't give me something, don't make me friggin' Lucky Cannon or something. I don't care. And so just for fun, like I had some normal names on there, I had some other anime names on there, but I had Dio. And I put Maddin as a meme because I was like, if this goes through, it will cement me in Super Best Friends history as the person who's officially stolen Wooly's identity. And
Better Wooly.
That's the one they picked. They picked Dio because they were like, oh, like Ronnie James Dio, like because you're like a rock star. I was like, yeah, sure, that's exactly why. And they were like, Maddin because you're like you used to play football. It's like, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
You're just like, yes.
Yes.
It's like, I love Holy Diver.
I was like, Bacana.
According to Kick.
It's like, oh, you also like Ronnie James Dio? I love Rainbow in the Dark.
Oh, big fan. Loved his work.
Back in
yes.
Stardust Crusader. No, that's fucking.
I mean, it's like, oh, I haven't listened to that album. Yeah, you should. It's great.
One thing I do gotta love a lot about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is all of the oldies references. It is amazing.
It's like you're one step closer to having your fucking all JoJo fucking.
I do want to have that one day in the future. Just have like a whole have a whole podcast where like it just all me and like all the guests are just like relaxing, or we're just talking about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Be a fight. I would honestly expect someone to have differing opinions.
But yeah, I think that about like wraps this great episode up.
Oh yeah,
I gotta say.
Excellent. Well,
yes,
thank you guys for having me.
Thank you for joining us. And if before we end it off, is there anything like social media wise or anything that's going on in your life that you would like to plug in?
If you type in Great Black Otaku on just about anything, it's probably me. So
then I shall
look on Twitch, look on Twitter, look on Instagram. It's all Great Black Otaku.
Then I shall put also those in the description as well.
Thank you.
So don't forget to check out Dio Brennan's stuff all across the social media websites that he has just described. Don't forget to check him out on.
I think I'm on
like
Tumblr.
Everything else.
I don't use it, but I know I'm on there.
Same.
No one fucking uses Tumblr anymore.
Right. So yes, check out all those. Don't forget to check out more of the episodes that we have of the podcast and anything else that we've done on the channel.
Before we go, I actually have an announcement to make.
What?
What's up?
That's right, everybody. It's your favorite NEET here once again to say I'm actually going to be attending a wrestling show for the first year of January 15th. I'm gonna be fucking going to AW Dynamite, baby.
Oh no, you said the word.
Oh no!
Now we're turning to dust. It's like when you shine the lights of the sun and Hamon energy on Dio.
I'm crumbling.
Oh,
I'm crumbling.
Jojo!
Oh,
Cake Dragon! Bagada!
it's beautiful.
I killed him because I said the fucking AW word. But yeah, we going to Dynamite. I'm probably gonna have a stupid sign that says Kazuma should be AW champion or get Dio or some shit like that.
Please, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Dio could beat Lesnar. Change my mind.
I'd do that if I ever went to a house. Yeah. January 15th, I'll be at the Fort Lauderdale or the Miami Square Garden Center thingamabob. Aaron, you can
Alrighty.
awful at life, but yeah, very exciting.
Oh, that is great. So yeah, don't forget to check out all of this
Everybody.
and more episodes to come of the podcast whenever they may come. Hope everyone has had a happy new year, and we'll see you all in the next episode whenever that may be. So yeah, later everyone.
Days. Bye.